Hi, my name is Carol York, and I am here to talk about the two articles and the video that we looked at this week in our self health seminar class. And the first one was the structured and unstructured physical activity and how we can embed that in our PE lessons without sacrificing the skill development and the other qualities of a structured PE lesson. Offering students opportunities to engage in physical activity, both unstructured and structured formats may provide a sense of value for those students to engage in that physical activity. Providing students with unstructured physical activity opportunities that mimic positive characteristics of recess and free time could alter their perception of the value of a physical activity, and that may help bridge the gap between the behaviors within school and outside of school. If we can figure out ways to add those unstructured times in, it gives the kids some choice, their motivation goes up, and hopefully that would transfer into a continued physical activity outside of school. I had three keys that I took away. One is youth often engage in activities that allow them to showcase their creativity and independence. Characteristics of unstructured context provides an alternative experience to improve students' decision making, helps with their communication, helps with their problem solving skills in those environments. Children are intrinsically driven to construct, deconstruct, and reconstruct goal-directed activities when learning in unstructured environments. The second takeaway that I took was that students are capable of attaining high levels of physical activity through different game opportunities, and having children take charge and have a voice in that game selection, conditions, rule settings, or pace will leave students feeling challenged and motivated to improve through practice when utilizing these models. The sport itself doesn't always have to be the focus. Maybe you have a mini game of basketball, or one court could be mini basketball, one court be 5-on-5, one court could be for beginners, and they can choose what do they want. The third key was to have the strategies to consider offering students opportunity to engage in unstructured recess bout, as they called it, within a skill focused lesson about once a month. In these sessions, students would be instructed to self-select one previously performed task, something we've done in PE before, within the lesson during the skill practice, and do so independently with the option of choosing to select another or a different task at their own discretion and on their own time. Basically, recess. Oh, do I want to go play Foursquare? Do I want to go play tetherball? But have it in the confines of what skills have you been working on. So maybe, you set up an obstacle course to dribble through, and maybe you have a shooting section over here, and they can choose. And that adds to that motivation for them. The second article we read was the relationship of enjoyment, perceived competence, and the cardiorespiratory fitness to physical activity levels in elementary school children. So students' motivation beliefs are the primary antecedents to physical activity participation and cardiorespiratory fitness performance. We know that in the United States, it's a growing concern of children being obese. The rates are climbing. They're not getting better. They can consistently get higher. And this article talked about there seemed to be a correlation between kids' beliefs on how they're going to do, how competent they are, and their cardiovascular fitness level. Some of the keys that I took away with, they talked about 3 different models. They have the expectancy value model. That is where the individual's belief regarding their success in the value of the activity explain their activity choice, persistence, and performance. Kind of makes sense. I remember growing up, I was very good in sports, but if I wasn't good at a sport, I didn't like to do it. Like I didn't like to bowl, wasn't a good bowler. Self-advocacy theory proposes that judgments are based on what individuals can do with the skill they possess, and which produces their efficiency levels, which predict effort and persistence. Kind of goes along with the other one. Same thing. I know I was good at basketball. I worked really hard at basketball. I knew I would do well. Bowling, not so much. Didn't try as hard. Didn't really work at it. And then the last one is the youth physical activity promotion model. Talks about how children's unique development, psychological, and behavior characteristics promote physical activity. This model is catered to children. It provides a conceptual framework from a social cognitive perspective for understanding the factors that may predispose, enable, and reinforce a child to be physically active. So we set them up in a situation based on those things to have them be successful. So those were my 3 keys. The video, really enjoyed this one. Talked about there were several ways to add choice to your lessons. Things like workload during fitness time. I loved his comment where he talks about, hey, you're going to jog for 30 seconds. Now, how many push-ups can you do? How many sit-ups can you do? This gives them a chance to challenge themselves. They have success because they're not trying to reach this mark that they may or may not reach. The mark is different for each kid, which is awesome. I also loved during skill progression, when you're teaching a skill, you can say, okay, students, if you're ready for the next step, here's what you're going to do. Students that need more practice, keep going that. But if you want a challenge, try this now. So it gives them choice on how fast they move through those skill progressions, and they don't move to the next skill progression until they feel comfortable with the one before. And then the last one I really loved was the game courts. He talked about having a competitive court, a recreational court, and a court for beginners. And I think about how many times I have open gym in volleyball, and I get the newbies there, and they're trying, they're working hard, but they just feel so defeated half the time because they see all these other kids doing it so well. So breaking it out, letting them have some choice of where they feel they're comfortable. We also have kids that are really good at things, but really don't want to be competitive and just want to go and have fun. So let them just have fun. He also talked about opt-out passes, and I love that one because he talks about the fact that kids can have a bad day, just like adults. Sometimes adults call in sick when we have a bad day. Kids don't always get to do that. And so maybe you can say you have 2 days during this PE, quarter of PE or semester of PE, and then if a kid's choosing to opt out, they can opt out that day, and then you can say, hey, you only have one more day. Is this really one you want to use? And I was telling my PE teacher at work about this, and she was like, yeah. She goes, a lot of times when kids say they don't feel good and I have 3 different things going on during the class, I'll say, which one do you feel like you could do? And so they can opt out the other 2 and participate in the one. So my summary really took my 3 keys. I really like the student choice during the workload. That's the one key I took. Teaching the skills, that key of making sure, or letting kids choose when they want to go to the next skill level. and loving that the three different court, competitive, recreational, and I'm just learning. Um, so things that I would love to incorporate into my classes like that and is that fitness time, giving them choice, um, where they do the interval stations, they choose their goal, what are they reaching. I think you could work that into also just fitness goals in general. Like I know we do the pacer run at our school a lot, so we maybe at the beginning of the year you start with the pacer run. They see how many they do. Okay, what's your goal for the next one? What activities are you going to do to increase those so you can get a better pacer run score? Letting those kids choose where their level is. It's unrealistic to expect everybody to get 50 on the pacer run. I'm not sure what the number is, but some kids might only get 3. Some get 75. Who knows? I also loved the thing I would want to incorporate, and I really like this, and I think about this as I'm teaching open gyms now for volleyball. How can I set it up where they can decide when they want to progress to the next station, the next skill level? So we're passing, so just regular passing back and forth. They're doing really good. Okay, so now we're going to do angle passing, triangle threes. But maybe some kids still need to stay with just the back and forth. And the last one, I can also incorporate, I'm thinking about for open gyms. I kind of try to apply this to things I'm doing right now. Having, like right now, I usually have 2 nets going. So maybe one net is a competitive game and the other net is more recreational or more beginners. Or maybe they get to play and we're just going to work on some skills right now to get us ready to be able to play. So I think there's a lot of ways to incorporate things, to offer kids choice and let them feel successful, because the more they're feeling successful, the more they're going to come back and the more they're going to want to participate. And I think anytime you can get kids to come back and participate, the physical activity is going to increase and they're going to want to do those things. I think sometimes we've got PE as this skill and it's got to be fit in this box, and not all kids fit in that box. Not all kids are athletes. So how do we engage them if you're not the athlete and get them to enjoy being active and participating, and offering those choices, I think is the way to go. Thank you.